We talk about diversity a lot. Diversity is something that is used at every moment, in every sentence. But I found something very interesting about diversity is when you are in a room with 12 different people, different in sex, different in age, different in color, different in which role they do in the industry, like end users, distributors. You have a very basic idea and you are sure that your idea is correct. Then you have different visions. And then this idea start to change. And what you thought it was very clear and very simple, it becomes a different idea. And that is a very powerful idea after this discussion. So the diversity that comes into these meetings creates, I think, a very powerful board, a very powerful strategy. That is like, how do you say, the vision comes from different lenses, different angles, and different colors. So when you have the final decision, this is much better than the first initial sentence that we had.
How can we attract talent into the AV industry and, more importantly, keep it? How are we relating to potentially non-AV people whose skills are probably very useful to what we know as the AV industry, and how can we get that message over to new people who may not know what the word AV means?
I'm going to tell you a story, personal story about it. This is maybe my 20-something InfoComm show, and it's a special InfoComm for me because this is a one-year term as chairman. I booked the tickets to my wife and my 2 daughters. They were with me at the opening, and I'm so proud of it. And then I started walking into the show, and I saw her faces like, wow, 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 wow. I said, now you know what I do. Now you know why I'm coming always so happy to hear, and you know what I go back to home so energized. And this is a nice example. AV is audio and video. People need to see, people need to experience, they need to touch it, they need to have the impact that our industry has. So we can do a lot in a virtual world, but we need them to experience physically what is the AV. I think this is the best of we can do. Of course, there are, our industry is so wide now. There are different people getting into the industry, and very young people that they believe something completely different than the older people in the industry. And we need to find a way that we connect and we can have a common language. Because it's different.
The exposure that AV needs in the wider community outside AV. So you're seeing AV beginning to, well, we all know it's a strategic technology, but the wider world around it won't see it like that. So we have a communications challenge to face to bring them into our world. I mean, if you're thinking corporately, then I think we see the challenges of how integration and the subtle working together of technologies can be very valuable that we've seen during lockdown and coming out of it, Teams and Zoom and the infrastructure, it's mostly AV, isn't it? It's not, that sits on top of the IT infrastructure, but it's definitely AV, and we're living in a world of AV, whether we like it or not. But the wider world doesn't quite see it like that, and I think that's probably another one of your challenges, I think, perhaps. I mean, you joined at the right time, really, here in a sense, as chairman, haven't you? In fact, everything's come together in perhaps a way that was perhaps not foreseen, but for our lockdown period. And I think that's a great thing. So I think the messaging, I think, from AVIXA is going to come out about communicating more widely around the AV industry about what we can offer and relate that to the wider industry in how we can support certain applications and bring a world that isn't familiar with AV into the AV fold, in a sense.
You describe it perfectly. When we had these IC connected, or we have these virtual meetings on Zoom, I had the possibility to say to many people that what happened in the world with the pandemic if we were not here. So institutions, education, companies, they will stop. So, and for us, for the members on the industry is, okay, we are relevant. We are relevant. We help the world in a way that we never thought. And that's not the impact of the exposure massively. Sorry, my English about it. But you understand what I mean. It's not massive. It's not someone say, okay, AV save us because you have collaboration, you have audio and video, and you communicate and you help us. So yeah, there are other industries that are more popular, are more the press is more present, and maybe whatever they say is top news. I think we are not there. We need much more awareness. In Latin America, this is where I come from, we used to have some InfoComms. I hope we have in the future more. And I see many people that they love audio, they love video, they love production, they love what they do, and they don't have the infrastructure, or the industry is not there to get them being in companies or get the jobs, or maybe they change. Or also I saw many very high talent people, but we don't have this press, we don't have this relevance. This is a really main question that we have. How can we step up? How can we become more known for the rest of the world, not only AV? And I think we need to feel it inside first. We need to understand that what we do. I had the Congreso on Tuesday, and the questions they asked, the audience asked, it's like at the end when I was answering, I said, why you integrators or consultants, why you undervaluate what you do? What we do is so difficult. What we do requires a lot of study, a lot of certification, a lot of time. We make mistakes, we need to solve situations. It's so challenging. Why don't give the value and in every day, in our everyday job? And this is a common sense that we need to work with our members.
Yet AV technology has helped them work in a different way, hybrid and in the office. Very complex infrastructure game, very complex to make work, and how to manage your workforce in two different operating environments and make them look like one requires many more skills. Yes, AV skills basically, but IT skills, good management skills. The role is or can expand much further. It's a question of how the AV role will expand. How far can we go within AV into what's seen as other people's territories, like IT, for example? We don't want AV professionals becoming IT professionals in the purest sense, but we need them more aware of the world they're operating with, the skills they need to convince the worlds they're working with that they're good people to deal with, and they know their specialism, and making the other worlds appreciate the skills they have that they probably can't emulate and they need AV professionals to do, managing that environment and moving forward to face some of the challenges that all businesses are going to face over the next 4 or 5 years in what have become quite complicated operating environments where the infrastructure will become very important, all the stuff that you don't see, whereas AV is all the stuff you do see, but blending those two worlds together is quite a complex thing. So if we can lead in those fronts, that would be great. I mean, I could see AVIXA and the role of trade shows changing a bit, going into where customers should be doing next, and perhaps getting closer to where their business challenges are, and relating how their technology can help them get through those more effectively than we're currently doing. Because there is a disconnect, I feel, between wow technology and its relevance to the modern operating environment businesses have. They're seen as a luxury rather than as a necessity, yes, because it is very strategic. Yes. And I feel that requires new skills and new ways of communicating to convince other worlds that we're up to the job and can actually step up with them in some of the challenges we have to face. So I don't know what's on the agenda of AVIXA to cope with those, or where you, over the next 2 or 3 years, what that looks like. So it would be interesting to know and see how it evolves, for example. But it's a much more complex tale and way forward than we had 5 years ago, when the world was much more simple and technology was predictable. Now the challenges our technology faces have become more unpredictable, and we're working how integration in a relatively interoperable world that isn't interoperable, more proprietary. You know, we are going from one point to another in that sort of transitionary phase, and now we have AI and other infrastructure technologies. I mean, what's AV and what isn't? I just don't know. So what's your next most important challenge you feel you face personally, getting some of these points across?
Well, something that comes to my mind is that if we see the volume, the size of the industry, we are back in the 2019 at levels of sales but we are another completely industry. It's not the same. I think the very best example is the integration side. Is what you were describing. Is the integrator needs to do investments. What investment? What to choose? Certification in what? In Zoom, Microsoft, Google, Cisco, Crestron, Biam, QC. So there's a lot to do. And when is this investment will return? If something appears suddenly like the AI, and so you don't need to learn how to code because it's come very simple, because just you request it and it comes. How the world will look like next year? I'm not talking about 5 years, I'm talking next year. So it's a completely change. I think I saw one of the most visionary guys in this industry saying everything has changed, and I completely agree. And the thing is, the change is happening very. It's not the velocity; it's the acceleration of the change. And this is something that concerns to me, because when you accelerate, someone stays behind, and some of them are going forward, and they took maybe the correct path, the correct way, and others don't. This is one of my main concerns. How can we help? How can we guide the people in the industry to understand what's going on and where to move, where to invest? We know education is is what we need, but in which specialty, or we need to understand business, or we maybe 5 years ago when integrators came to me, I said, okay, you should have a lot of project managers. That's the best investment, because project manager will keep your process good and will keep your client happy. Now it's very old, say this. What should I say today? I really don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, and there are a lot of things that we know. For example, economy is more volatile in the world. So this is uncertainty, but it's something that we know. We know now the AI is impacting maybe earlier than we expected. We know now that maybe one startup of 2 or 3 kids, they are doing much better things than an industry of 10 or 20 years of development. So we need to keep all the industry informed, all the members informed. This is the way, giving the space. And I think one of the challenges we have is how can we take the best of both space. The expo, the physical space, the virtual space. How can we take the best of both, and we can give these communication channels to the members so they are more aware of what's going on.
Interesting couple of years ahead.
We are having a board planning meeting in July. I should lead it, so I'm preparing thousands of questions. But something that I'm very positive, because when you have this environment, opportunities happen more often. And you don't know where is this opportunity. But I think that we are living in a moment like maybe it was after the war. Like we have a lot of things that we can create and will succeed, but we don't know what is exactly. So it's in this massive crisis, in massive uncertainty, there are too many opportunities. And we had at the expo a lot of people trying to look for this answer, or bringing ideas, or bringing questions to us. So I'm positive. I'm positive in the way of the industry is going. We don't know where. We don't know where. We know there are, as you said, audio companies doing incredible things. And I think startups, a lot of startups doing pieces of technology. I think you said like something like this, small pieces that these newcomers in the industry can bring. And someone more wise may took these pieces, like we are saying, some consolidation of these little companies that are creating incredible technologies. Then someone more bigger, they take this technology and creates a bigger or better solution. So I think this is interesting also for the newcomers, or these young people that they have an idea and then maybe they find this place, this industry, a way to to have success with his idea. It's a nice moment. It's a nice moment. It's not the same. I remember maybe when I get into the board and I hear someone saying, "This is the best moment ever in the industry because we are growing 7% per year." So I suffered the pandemic, the going down, and this is more exciting than this moment because we knew what's going on at that moment, and we don't know now. So we will make wrong decisions for sure, but we will make right also. If we are positive, we are there, we keep pushing to the industry, we keep moving, we keep bringing ideas or different products like pieces of communications, content, AVIXA TV, and more something that I like so much, and we say to the staff, we have a lot of partnerships now. Partnership is key for us. It will help a lot to the industry. I'm so positive, so optimistic.
That's good to hear. Martin, thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you.